Welcome to our study of the Gospel of John.
I have fallen in love with the work of Paul as I've studied the book of 1 Corinthians, and I believe you will too.
This is where Jesus taught in Capernaum, and you have to understand this scene.
The Lord is my shepherd. And over the next 6 weeks, we're going to look deeply into the 23rd Psalm.
Right Now Media. It's for groups. It's for personal devotion. It's for parents.
The bullseye of parenting is to raise children who become like Jesus.
It's for kids.
This is Phil. We're digging into the Bible, which, as we've mentioned, is more than just a book.
It's for tough times.
So when you recognize that you're trying to have a conversation with your spouse and they're not ready to talk, it's not helpful to keep pressing them.
It's for every phase of life.
If you've made mistakes with money, you know what that makes you? Over 12.
And now, it's yours. We've purchased a Right Now Media subscription for everyone in our church. So check your inbox for the digital invitation and download the app for instant access to thousands of biblically based videos. Get equipped. Get inspired.
Daily free rewards, Mom. Don't forget to start the live stream in a little bit. That's the wrong button. Yeah. Where's your volume? I don't want it on. They can still hear with it down. Yeah. So that means no sound? They can hear. Yeah. So I turn it all the way off. Is that going to affect the video? No, because they'll still hear it. At least I think they can. Ta-da.
Alright, let's do this. Good morning, everybody. If you want to stand up when we worship, or if you want to sit, whatever you're most comfortable with.
Now, this first song I'm going to do today is one of my favorites. It may not be your favorite, but I absolutely positively guarantee you will be able to quote the entire verse of Romans 16:19. I guarantee it. Before the song is done, you will be. So the devil, he cannot mess with you, because you're going to be able to yell Romans 16:19. So stand up, put a smile on your face. The song goes better if you smile. So what is all this disclaimer about this song?
We're going to put on words.
I did it again. I got to put my words up there.
You know, there's not a lot of words to this song. It's so helpful.
Romans 16:19 song. I used to do that song years ago. Love you, Jesus.
You are my here, Lord, I just pray for every single person that's here today, God. Nobody's here by accident. And God, I just pray if there's someone that's really struggling, you're in such a weird world, Lord, and there's so much anxiety and fear and just concern. And Lord, I just pray that we will just be able to give that to you. You are here with outstretched arms. You want to take on our burdens, Lord, and sometimes it's just on us. It's so hard. You just keep on holding on. And Lord, I just pray today that we would just be able to lead it all to you. God, all our concerns, all our worries, Lord, you are here to take those on because you want us to live in freedom. God, you don't want us to be in bondage. You want us to live in freedom. You are the only one that can set us truly free. And Lord, we just want to surrender today to you. God, we just pray that you will come here. We just sense your presence, Lord, and we are just so thankful. Thankful that your word says where 2 or 3 are gathered in your name, that you are in our midst. And God, we just thank you for that. That you are here, you're available, and you're here to just act in our lives. And God, I just thank you that the hope and the trust we can have in you just make everything better, Lord. We just thank you for what you're doing in our lives. And God, I just pray what you're doing in our church, Lord. I just pray that you will help us to really, really touch our community, God. There are people that are lost and are searching, Lord, and I just pray that we will be able to give a lending hand and give hope, God, and just lead them to you, Jesus. God, we just thank you so much. Amen. You may be seated. We are so grateful you're here today. Welcome. I'm just going to step up so I'm in the light. I heard earlier I was not in the light, but that's okay. But we're always in the light because I got Jesus. So I am just so happy to see all of you that are here in person today, and welcome to everyone that's online. We just love that there's a lot of people that are tuning in, and we're just excited because no matter what, we are the church. It doesn't matter how many people are in person or online, we are the church, and we just are here to affect the world, and we are just we're just excited. So if you came in today and you did not receive one of those pouches with stuff in it, if you want to raise your hand, and Scott has one of those for you. We appreciate it if you've never been there. If you want to leave your contact information, we don't spam you or anything. We just want to make sure we can stay in touch with you, and we just want to welcome you here. We're just grateful here, and then you can fill everything out. You can just put in the offering bucket that is outside of the theater at the end of the service. And if you are going through something, there's a card in there. If you need prayer, just fill that out, and you can just put that all in at the end. Today is an exciting day because we have a special guest. Well, I probably shouldn't steal all his thunder.
No.
I'm just excited. Yes, I know. And also, there's more announcements, sorry. But we just want to make sure that you are connected throughout the week. We have our online soap, our online, every single day, a Bible verse, but we also do Bible studies several times during the week because we know you're all busy and you have different schedules, and make sure you tune in. It's just a great opportunity to just visit. We do it on Zoom, and it's so you can sit on your couch and we just talk and we just learn more about Jesus together, and it's just a great opportunity for us to connect during the week.
Can you say the times? Tuesday night, Thursday night, Saturday morning.
Okay, and it's
7:30 in the evenings, and then 10 a.m. on Saturday morning.
Yes.
Now, I'm a little bit selfish. It's just been me and Steve on Saturday mornings. That's been kind of nice. I really like Steve. So but we love you guys too. And so I promise that you won't wreck our time, me and Steve on Saturday mornings. If you come, me and Steve will hang out some other time. Okay? But I really enjoyed that time with Steve. So Saturday morning, now it's very masculine Bible study. It's Tim Tebow.
So it's all
and Elizabeth will be doing hers on Sunday evening.
No, Saturday evening at 6 o'clock.
That's right.
Kids Bible study.
It will be Saturday at 6 o'clock. So she'll be doing that. She did one, and she had a lot of fun with lots of kids and stuff. And then this last Saturday, we didn't shake the bushes as hard, and she was a little bit stood up. But she was very faithful. She was like the preacher that nobody showed up to preach, and the preacher just preached as an act of worship to God. She did the whole Bible study with no participants. That was good. So you can tell people I preached to an empty room. That's done that too much. Anyway, We're not empty today, though. Thank you for coming. It is more fun when you're here. I'm just saying, preaching to empty rooms. But Jesus here. What? Is that it?
I think that's it. I guess you probably don't want me to take any more time, but we're just excited. Thank you for being here today, and we want to give as much time as possible to our special guests. Have you handle all that?
Oh, yeah. So I'll give this to you, Marcelo. I'll have you come up in just a minute, but I just got to tell you, we are doing, actually before I do that, let's do our mantra. Would you focus your heart and mind on the Lord with me? And we just want Jesus to have all of us today. Dear God, come and make your way in this place, that your Holy Spirit would take us the way we are. And you are so good and so faithful to take us where we are, and then you bring us to where we need to be. You sanctify us. Not that you forgive me, but you change me. So I get to be more like you. God, I thank you for that, because I never could change myself. Willpower? Yeah, I don't have a lot of willpower. But I got Jesus' power. I got the Holy Spirit. So we just thank you for that today, God. And with that in mind, would you pray with me and say, Jesus, help me to be what you want me to be. Do what you want me to do. Because people without you go to hell. Yes, God. Thank you so much, everybody, for praying that with me. And we take eternity really serious, and today has to do with that. Today, this is our third core principle. All right, now so far, what have we done? The first principle that we had, and I'm not going to have them on the screen, but we are faith-filled, bet-the-farm risk-takers. We will not insult God with wimpy prayers or small dreams, okay? Then last week, what was last week again? Anyone remember? What was it again? It was, I forget if I want to. Oh, yeah. Sorry, thank you, honey. We are not spiritual consumers. We are spiritual contributors. We don't believe in going to church. We believe we are the church, and we exist. I didn't say it right. I'll try it again. We are not spiritual consumers. We are spiritual contributors. We believe that we are the church, and the church doesn't exist for us, but we are the church, and we exist for the world. Should I try it one more time? And did you get that? Okay. We are not spiritual consumers. We are spiritual contributors, right? We do not believe the church exists for us, but rather we believe that we are the church, and we exist for the world. Man, see, it's easier when I got it on the screen. Me too. But today, we are irrationally generous. Okay, we are irrationally generous today. And we'll look at it here. We will lead the way with irrational generosity. We truly believe that it is more blessed to give than receive. Now, this entire time, every January for the last 6 years or so, I have preached on our core values. And if you want to know how my head works, I still trip over them, saying them. But I've done this for a lot of years. A little harder this year, as you might imagine. Every week, how do you be faith-filled when the whole world is falling apart? Nothing that you plan it works, and everything is tough. It's tough to be a spiritual contributor when you have to. It's difficult to even volunteer because you're not supposed to be around people. And this morning, thank you to all of you that were here at 9 o'clock. Yeah, about 20 years. And this church has about 200 refugee Christians who come and worship every Sunday. And they have had some fantastic success with ministering to the Muslims in our community. Now, I've known Pastor Paul. He's been in Fargo 20 years. I've known him for a solid 12, I think. I've known Pastor Paul for, and he's a more godly man than I am. I'm just telling you, he just is. His faith and his love for God and commitment to people and ministry. I don't know if you got people like that in your life, but I feel like, Wayne and Garth, I'm not worthy, when I'm on Pastor Paul. He's the real deal. And he's been people tried to kill him, and he would tell the story, and someday we'll hear more about that. But anyway, they have a building that if you guys went there, you would feel full if there was 50 people there. And it's a tiny little old church in West Fargo. And they get over 100 people packed in that little space. It's probably, I don't know, it's a quarter of the size of just those chairs right there. I think probably the whole sanctuary that they have. Maybe a couple rows bigger, but it's really small, and they've been trying to minister to all these folks, and they're doing good ministry. And I was with a group of people that are looking to raise funds, and they're raising $300,000. And so I'm sitting there, and of course I love Pastor Paul. I'm personally aware of the ministry they're doing. I can tell you some fun stories, but I want to give Marcelo lots of time here as much as I can. And so they're building this thing, and I'm sitting there, and I thought, you know what? I want to help them build that building, but I want to do more than that. And so what I'm going to offer a challenge to you at the end of the service, because we don't really have a board, really, because we're such a little church plant, and we have people who serve in a board capacity, but it's we're young and we're small, and so, but I wanted to involve you, and so kind of a blunt instrument way of involving you. At the end of the service today, I'm going to give you an idea, and I'm going to ask you to join us in supporting All Nations Church moving forward. Marcelo, would you come on up, my brother? Or as Pastor Paul is preaching this morning, exactly on Thursday. It wasn't like I could say to Pastor Paul, can you be here this Sunday? Here you are, sir. And if you and down here, I go ahead and take off my mask if you want, if that makes it easier. But tell me your last name, Marcelo.
Yeah, my last name is Logo.
Say
Logo.
Logo.
And then just people make it just easy. Yeah. They say Logo.
Logo?
Yeah.
Okay. Marcelo Logo.
Yeah.
See, there's a reason why I had forgotten that. Marcelo is one of the leaders who preaches over at All Nations Church. He's one of the leaders there, and he is a beautiful man of God. And I've asked Marcelo to come and share with you guys a little about the church, some of the challenges, some of the incredible testimonies of reaching Muslim people, and the incredible price. If a Muslim becomes a Christian, it's very different than if one of our American friends and family becomes a Christian. And so now, Marcelo, I want to have time to do the challenge with them. So that big clock right there, and the big hand is on the 10. I'll come on up here and I'll wrap a couple things up, okay? Okay. All right, bless you, brother.
Yep. Yeah, first of all, let me just introduce myself. My name is Marcelo Loglomo. I am from Sudan, before it became a Southern Sudan. And I immigrated here 2005. I moved here 2005. And I am married, have 2 kids. One passed away almost 3 years ago in 2018. He was drawn into the water in West Fargo. And I remained with one. His name is Jeremiah, and then 2 pastors' kids. I have Josiah, and then I have Paul. They came with me as his father traveled around and preaching the gospel. And I am here also give God thanks, because you're also here to give God thanks, because we know what God have done in our life because of His promise, of His mercy. That's why we're here. And I came from a country where dominated by the Muslims, and we are persecuted, and I ran to Egypt with that bitterness and anger in my heart, whereby I'm looking back to do revenge. But something happened when I was in Egypt. What happened is, one day, one of the Muslim guy who came in Egypt for the treatment, and he ended up didn't have the money, and he was traveling, supposed to go to the hospital, and he took a train, and when he reached the stop sign, and he went so far, and what happened? So they arrest him, and they came with his wife, and his wife left in the police station, and he was around the place begging for a money, and nobody give him money. And in that day, I used to travel around, but I didn't have even money because I was working and I was sent to buy something, but I didn't have money in that time. By myself, I was fasting. I'm not able to eat. Only what I have in my pocket, according to their money, is called pound. Consider here maybe 10 cents. And I was having that money only in my pocket. But this man came around and called me. And when I look around in the multitude of the people, because a lot of crowd, and then I hear the voice so clearly, because you can recognize among maybe 100 of people, if somebody who you've been together in the same country shout a loud voice, you will remember that person is from different background. And I turned around and I saw my brother from the Muslim background. And when I turned around and saw him, what happened to my mind, to my heart, I was broken. And then there's anger and there's rage, where I waiting for him, what exactly he need from me, because I already left the country. I am in Egypt because of them. So what he is looking after me, and then I turn around to him, and then I just saw him, and then he said he was here begging for almost 2 hours, so nobody can give him anything, for he need my help. And then I begin to think in my heart, number one, you guys are Muslims, and you came into the Muslim nation because Egypt is a dominant Muslim nation. And the second thing, you guys persecute art. And the third thing, you guys are rich people, but what does it to do with me? What does it to do with me? That's what I speak in my heart, but I didn't say to him. But later on, I remember the words of the Lord with Joseph in Egypt, when his brother sell him out to slavery. And when his father passed out, and we are here for God's glory to do his mission. And that's why he sent us as a refugees, but as also a missionaries in the same package of the refugees. But thank you so much.
Thank you, Marcel. Yes, give them a round of applause. Thank you. And they have been successful reaching Muslims in our community like we never ever could. I mean, never ever could. And Marcelo, you check my work a little bit, would you? So if I say something wrong, you just wave at me and fix me, okay? But a little while ago, there was a child that had cancer in her eye, right? And it was a Muslim family, and they were, now I didn't know this, and so all I'm repeating is things from Pastor Paul, and I didn't know this, but there's witchcraft in Islam, and they had tried to help this daughter and stuff, and so finally nothing was working, and they were having to go to the Mayo Clinic, and they said, you've tried everything, why don't you have the Christians pray for you? And so they came to Pastor Paul that he would pray for this girl with cancer in her eye that had been to the Mayo Clinic and things, and it was a terrible deal. And so they were going to do an operation on the child's eye, and if the operation was successful, the cancer would be gone, but the child would be blind. That was the best case scenario from the Mayo Clinic, is that the child would be blind but not have cancer. And so they bring the child to Pastor Paul, and Pastor Paul prays for the child, and they pray a prayer of faith, and they pray that God would heal the child. And can I tell you, our African brothers and sisters, they know how to pray a prayer of faith in a way that we have no idea. You know, when God is all you got, you realize He's all you need. And so Paul prays, and then this kid goes back to Mayo Clinic, and of course the punchline is the kid is healed. They did no operation on that kid at the Mayo Clinic. Now you might think, well, that Pastor Paul, he's a nut. He's not a nut. I promise you. I've known him a long time. He's a credentialed minister, and he's not a nut. This happened, but the kickback. They got the Muslim community then, and again, the Muslim community is made up of individuals, okay? And so I'm not saying all Muslims are a certain way or anything like that, but this particular group of people began to elicit people who did witchcraft against Pastor Paul. And then they threatened his life. And Pastor Paul is so funny to tell the story. He says, yeah, but I'm in America. You can't just beat me up in America. The police will come. You know, back in Africa, you could do whatever you wanted, but not in America. He gets pretty excited about that. And I have personally had the opportunity to get to know this community of people because years ago, I used to do campus life. And I've always just anybody who hears about Jesus, I'm all there, right? And we'll be talking about that next week. We'll do anything short of sin to tell somebody about Christ. But it was, I discovered that if I invited the refugee kids to a gym night and did music and videos and a gym night, I could get and gave them pizza, I could get them to come. And so for a period of time, every week we had anywhere from 75 to 100 kids, and 80% of them were refugee kids. No, it was chaos. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. There were balls flying everywhere. And I got to know these kids. And they were beautiful kids. And they had come through the refugee camps, all of these kids. I remember one night I was sitting at Little Caesars Pizza, because I could buy a lot of pizza cheap at Little Caesars. And we're sitting there at the table, and the kids are there, and they're telling me about the refugee camp. And there was like maybe 6 kids sitting around the table that I was at. Every family, of those 6 kids, I think that there were 3 families represented. All of the kids there at the table had siblings die because in the refugee camp, maybe it was because you're a Christian, maybe it was because they said if you get more food than somebody else, they can get jealous. But they would poison each other's food. And of all this little group of kids, so we can't even begin to fathom to actually be hungry. You know what I mean? Or to actually, one kid that I worked with a lot, he ended up on the wrong side of the country when war broke out. And you think you have to walk a long way if you have to get to Growth Fargo. He walked like 75 miles to try to get to where his family was again because he was on the wrong side of the country when everything fell apart. And this is a beautiful kid. I mean, he was just such a wonderful, wonderful guy, and loving Jesus too. Well, one time, I did this a few times, but one time in particular, I brought about 35 of them fishing. And so I had this van, and I got my big black dog, and we take these kids out fishing. And the first thing they did is they broke all of my fishing poles. Because they didn't really know how to use them. And then they're like, oh, Pastor Scott, we'll teach you to fish the African way. And so they took apart my fishing poles, and they wound the fishing line around sticks. And we're in this little lake that was full of sunfish. There was no public access, and it was on my aunt and uncle's farm. It was so many sunfish. They went out, and they caught hundreds of sunfish. I don't think, I'm sure all of them had fishing licenses. They told me they did. But I know we weren't over the limit, because we did have 35 kids, and I think you can keep like 50 sunfish, something like that. But they catch, it was so many fish, and they bring them in. Now, I was youth pastor, right? I would bring American kids fishing, right? And American kids fishing, oh, look, you touched the worm, and the boys are, and the girls, nobody touches fish. I'm doing all the hooks, myself and stuff. African kids are a different experience to take fishing. They break your stuff, but they make better stuff that works well for them. And then, so the boys go out, and the girls stay on the beach. We're just hanging out. The boys go out, and they bring in, again, hundreds of sunfish. And then they give it to the girls, and they go back out again. I said, whoa, wait a minute. The rule at my place is if you catch them, you clean them. Because I usually end up cleaning all of the fish, and that's not fun. And then, so no, you guys get back here. You're helping clean these fish. And they go, oh, no, Pastor Scott, it's okay. And they clean all of the fish. Now, American girls, they won't touch the fish, okay? They won't go anywhere near the fish. The African girls, they clean all of the fish. They brought rice, and they brought ingredients to make this sauce. I didn't make the fire. They made the fire. They cooked the fish. And then, when the boys came back in with another just as big pile of fish, just a ginormous pile of fish. And the girls had cooked all the fish. And this was interesting to me. They laid out all of the plates, and one for each person, and everybody got exactly the same amount of food. And everybody, and nobody ate anything until all of the plates were laid out and all of the plates were served. And I thought to myself, you know what? We have no idea what it is to not have enough food. I'm sure that was a habit that they picked up. Because they had situations where there wasn't enough to go around, and so they did that. And can I tell you, just wonderful group of people that are in our city, that are our neighbors, good, hard-working people, Christian, they love God. And so then the girls come up to clean the rest of the fish that the boys brought in. They didn't touch the fish; they just laughed at me. I suggested they should. And then each family got a portion of fish, and each family got a bag of fish to bring home. But this church, in the last little while, they have gotten 25 Muslim people who have come to Christ and become a part of the church. Now, it's pretty different for a Muslim person to come to Christ than you or me. I was out driving to church this morning. My daughter and I were talking about that. If one of your friends or family who have come from our American, they'll become a Christian and they're just kind of joining the prevailing culture. In the Muslim world, for many of them, in the experience, they lose all their friends. They lose all of sometimes their lives are threatened. Pastor Paul has been threatened with death multiple times because someone came to Christ. Which he just, the authorities will protect me, he tells me. He's so fun. But they are effective, they are beautiful people, and they are meeting in a building that is just, it's a wonderful building, and it has served you guys, but it is not something that you would feel good about going to. It is just tight, and just so you know, too, you guys, if I can get you to raise a hand, or if I can get you to shout with me a little bit in church, I'm doing pretty good. If you were at All Nations this morning, they would all be dressed like Marcelo, by the way. They dress infinitely better than we do. To come to church, God gets your best, is the attitude, which is just awesome. And they dance, and they dance, and they dance. They can sing one song for like 20 minutes. Am I lying? That's the truth, right? And they're spinning and twirling, and these suits, they're dancing in a room that has, 100 and some people in it that is the size of a quarter of these seats right there. They love the Lord, and they're effective, and their building is garbage. And that's why, not garbage. It's a wonderful building that has served your church, but you wouldn't want to go there. And they're going to build onto it. And that was the appeal that they had on Thursday night. I was with a group of people, and Pastor Paul spoke. And after that is when I asked, hey, Pastor Paul, can you loan me one of your guys to come and share with our church? Because we want to be involved. So then I've been praying about it. Here's what I want to challenge you with today. We have about 10 minutes left here. So I want to give you time to think about it and pray about it. We have a donor who is going to match $100 to any of your $100. Now you may think, well, that's not very much money, $100 per month. In other words, now look around, and just so you know, that's a pretty big commitment for us. That's a step of faith, and it's a rational generosity. I'll just be honest with you. I can tell you, God is through this COVID thing. God has been incredible He's been so good. I've not missed a paycheck. I'm a full-time pastor, and the Lord has been incredibly good. We've had some miracle checks show up. God has been, He's had our back. But just so you know, everything we do right now is a step of faith. Okay? There's no extra. There hasn't been for some time. But you can't, without faith, you cannot please God. And so we have someone say, hey, I will match each month $100 if your people will rise up and make a monthly commitment to All Nations Church. Now, how this monthly commitment would look is that text to give number, and you can do it monthly right there, or you can go to our website and do it. All you got to do, though, is let me know this is what the gift is for, so I can designate it and make sure that that gift is going exactly where you want it to go. And it's rational generosity because it doesn't make any sense. When times are tough, why would the church pull back and take on a $2,400 a year? And for our little church, just so you know, that's not nothing. That's a significant step of faith for us. But I have a significant God. I have a God, and sometimes when things get tough, I get a little indignant sometimes. And well, Lord, devil, I'll show you, God. We're just all in. God, we're all in, Lord, and we just want your favor on us. And so I could not say enough good for these people. How much I trust these guys, Pastor Paul and his team. And so what I am asking for this morning, and go ahead and pull out your cards today, your prayer cards. And you can put your prayer requests on there. You can draw a little picture, you know, if you want, you know, whatever. But hold that card in your hand, and I'm going to pray. And just so you know, any faith commitment you make today to give every month, not going to do it. We're going to pass it right along to All Nations Church for their building project and beyond. Because the reality is, if we support them, I really believe that those dollars are going to make an impact upon eternity. The 10,000-year rule. There's not too many things you can do today that are going to matter 10,000 years from now. I believe with all of my heart that if we link our arms together and we support All Nations Church with $200 a month, $100 from this matching donor, and the rest from all of us. If we do that, I think there's going to be people in heaven because we came up alongside of All Nations. And like I said, they're going to spend every dollar well. I just really believe that. And so in a minute, I'm going to pray. And what I would like you to ask the Lord, what do you want me to do for All Nations every month? And without an end date. Now you can put it, just do it till Jesus comes back. That's my intention. You know, as long as they're doing good ministry, reaching the people that I could never reach, I tell you what, that's money well spent. I'll do that till Jesus returns. Because that's our community. And they need Jesus. They need Jesus. And we can preach Jesus to them here in Fargo better than any other place they might have lived. It's really an incredible opportunity. So ask the Lord, what do you want me to do? And then your gift is going to be doubled up to $100. I think that'd be pretty amazing. Now, what you'll do when the Lord speaks to you, write it on the card and drop it in there, and I'll look at it, and then we'll chat, and you can let me know your most comfortable way to do that gift, and that kind of thing, and I can go and tell this donor that we are taking advantage of the match. And so now next week, I'm not going to tell you who did what, but next week I am going to tell you how we did, okay? I really, we're maybe not that many folks here, but I just really think that God could do something. And I think that if we take a step of faith, it's going to please our God. It's going to make him smile this morning. I think we'll put a grin on my Jesus' face. And we'll say, Lord, we're just going to trust you, and you are faithful, and we know that you're going to do a miracle here. So God, I just thank you for what you are doing in our community. I thank you for All Nations Church. Lord, I thank you for the little finger that I have been able to put on the little bit I've had to do with All Nations. I've gotten to preach over there before, and boy, are they fun to preach. They yell at you and they sing. Oh, so one time they broke out in song while I was preaching. That was fun. These guys never. But Father, I just pray that you would, I know you want to engage your people. I know that you want us to give with faith. And God, I just pray that you would help us get to that goal of $100 raised. $100 from this person, Lord, $200 a month until you speak to us to stop, or until you return, or until there's not a single Muslim left that needs to hear about you in our community. Lord, we just want to be a part, even if it's a small part, of getting your gospel in front of people. And Lord, we'll do anything short of sin to get you to one more person. In Jesus' name. Amen. Well, you guys, we're not going to pass buckets today, but there are some buckets on the trash cans as you walk out. And so, and again, I'm not going to embarrass anybody next week, but next week I am going to tell you how you did. And so next week I might be saying, come on, you guys, are you kidding me? You know, or it'll be, we're going to give 250 because we hit that match and we went beyond. I don't know which, but you're going to hear the truth no matter what happens. I promise you that. So I'm not going to stand at the door, but I will hang out in the hallway if you want to chat. But God bless you guys. Love you so much. He is a good and wonderful God. And we're just going to keep on trusting. God bless you guys.